Miss Kartiki Parbatkar happens to be our alumna. She is a distinguished alumna. She studied in our institute from 2008 to 2012. She earned her diploma in electronics. After that, she joined in the second year of degree engineering at Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, Andheri West, and she earned her degree Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Telecommunications. Immediately after that, she joined a company named Clarivet. This company works in the area of intellectual property rights, and we understood from Kartiki's explanation and whatever experiences she shared with us that yes, there are a good number of opportunities for engineers in the field where she works. And we wanted to make our students aware of whatever career opportunities possible. So we have organized this talk. I am your host for today. Welcome, Ms. Kartiki. On behalf of our department and on behalf of everyone present here, I welcome you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for the kind introduction. And first of all, happy belated Teachers' Day to you all. So, hello everyone, this is Kartiki. I'm a student of PV Polytechnic, and I feel honored to be invited to this talk and speak with young aspiring engineers. First of all, I would like to thank Dinesh, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on IPR, that is Intellectual Property Rights. We have very few engineers who consider this as a career, maybe due to the lack of awareness or confusion between the IP and IT. So I'll share my screen with you first, and I've planned a presentation for you. So intellectual property rights. So what does intellectual property rights actually mean? So intellectual property refers to these exclusive rights which are granted by the government for the protection of assets that are created by our mind or intellect. So these are IP assets which can be tangible or intangible, wherein I mean, for example, literary, then artistic and scientific works, then performance or performing artist, then inventions in all fields of human endeavor. So you could say that IP is a legal concept which refers to the creations of the mind for which exclusive rights are recognized. Okay, and I'm really very glad to share this that this was a part of our syllabus in seventh semester in a subject named documentation techniques, which was conducted by Sanjay sir. And I truly thank Sanjay sir for introducing this to us back then. So Sanjay sir, really thank you. Moving ahead with the types of IPR. These are the five major types of IPR like copyright, trademark, geographical indication, trade secrets, and patents. So I'll just quickly explain like what are these and where as engineers we can fit into these. Okay. So first one is the copyright. So copyrights basically protect the expression of ideas in a fixed medium, you could say, but they're not the ideas themselves. Now, what I mean is that it protects the manner in which the ideas expressed and not the underlying thoughts of the author. We have an we have Copyright Law of India 1957, which caters to this copyrights issues, all the infringement and all. And we'll see the term period. That the term period for which the copyrighted material is protected is the lifetime of the author plus 50 to 70 years after the death of the author. Okay. So next we'll move on to trademark. So trademark is nothing but a distinctive sign, design, or an expression which can be used by an individual or a business organization, or you could say any other legal entity. For example, we recognize McDonald's over that M symbol. Okay, so in such a way that it is used to distinguish its own products or services from others. For example, we quickly identify McDonald's M symbol and then that Burger King, and that KFC is that person in that chef attire, right? So these are nothing but the trademark symbols. Yes. So we have a Trademark Act of India 1999, which deals with all the infringements involved on the trademark aspect. For example, if someone is using illegally some logo, for example, you some entity uses TCS logo, then it is an illegal purpose, right? So this Trademark Act of India would cater to it. Next, we have geographical indication. So geographical indication is like a sign used on goods that have a specific geographical origin, you could say, and it possesses those qualities and a reputation of that region. So, in many countries, the protection is awarded to GIs, which is similar to trademarks or certified again. The trade it is similar to the trademarks and the certifications. So, examples would be Solapur chadar, then Darjeeling tea, Kanchipuram silk, Kullu shawl, then Odisha rasgulla also, and Mysore silk. And Darjeeling tea was the first product in India to get the GI tag. And this was done in the year 2004 and 5. Next, we move on to trade secrets. So, trade secret is nothing but a formula, or you could say a composition, or it could be even of some business practice or some design or process which you follow. And it is used by a business to obtain an advantage, or you could say an economic benefit over its competitors or customers. And the subject matter will not be publicly known. As the name suggests, it's a trade secret, right? So the business must make its best efforts to maintain its secrecy. Now, this can be done by, say, non-disclosure agreement, like employee agreements regarding trade secrets. And the most prominent example here is a Coca-Cola formula. For example, patents usually last for, they have a lifetime of 20 years. Now, if this Coca-Cola formula would have been patented, it would have lasted only for 20 years. But then that peculiar taste of Coca-Cola is, at least I have not tasted it. That peculiar taste of Coca-Cola is not replicated in any of its competitors, right? Not Thumbs Up, not even Pepsi. So it has a different peculiar taste. And this is one of the world's best maintained secrets till date, I guess, more than 100 years. And this trade secret ensures the receipt remains undisclosed. Next, we move on to patents. And we as engineers usually deal with copyright and patents because all that those engineering fields usually involve patents. So, what are patents? Now, patents, you could say, are a set of rights which are granted by the government or patentee or the applicant, you could say. If there is an inventor who works for some company A, then the patent would be granted in the name of company or that inventor itself. And this can be done for in exchange for a period of time. And this is actually public disclosure of the invention. And a patent gives its owners the rights to exclude others from making, using, or even offering to sell or importing or selling the invention. So now why you disclose the invention? Because it helps to drive innovation and it provides protection also for the patentee from anyone using it. The typical lifetime is, as mentioned earlier, is 20 years from the effective date of filing. So basically, you could say that patent is a document that legally recognizes that a claimed invention is actually an invention. And this patent is usually issued by patent office of that country itself. Even trademarks and GI are all issued by the trademark office. Geographical indication is issued by the patent office and all. So each and every country has this its own trademark and patent office. So sir, I'm moving ahead with the next slide. Is my slide visible?
Yeah,
Hello.
it is. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it is visible.
So it is IPR in academics. So I'm assuming this one is visible. Okay, so let's start. I'm trying this to relate to the current students so that they can use this information for their benefit. Not all everyone can come in this field. Even few of them come and they can use this IPR in for their own benefit. So now engineering colleges every year come up with some remarkable innovations in their college projects, right? Now some have even impressed the private sector firms and defense sector. And even now, healthcare and medical care sectors have adopted at least part of these technologies in their units. Now, previously at student level, what would happen is these innovations were lost after they graduated from the college. I mean, no one would even think of it. College का project हो गया, then काम खत्म वैसे, right? But then, suppose if it is beneficial for a society, I believe it should be brought to people's notice and it should be put in use, right? So now what I've heard is that AICT, that is the All India Council of Technical Education, I think that's a full form, has introduced an intellectual property search examination, which would deal with spreading knowledge about getting patents for the projects and innovations. Now, today, many colleges in India have their own IPR cell. In fact, nowadays, college bear the cost of patenting too. So, what this will do, I think that it will encourage more and more students to come up with ideas that would develop a better society, and it would even work for the benefit of society. For example, I've taken up these two examples as depicted over here that hit the headlines last year due to the ongoing COVID pandemics. So I'll just try to explain why I'm saying that it would benefit for the society also, even though it's a last year project. So the first one I've taken is a Tech ventilation system. Now, long working hours of wearing PP kits and masks are it gets difficult, right, for the doctors and frontline workers around the world. Now, realizing to provide some sort of relief to these medical practitioners, a second year student of KJ Somaya saw this and he developed a compact ventilation system for PP kits. So you could see over here that some belt-like structure, belt-like system. It comes up with some lithium-ion battery, and this system ensures a breeze of fresh air due to the user in a gap of say 100 seconds, I guess, a minute. So we come across those pictures, right, wherein all our frontline workers are fully drenched in the sweat and they don't even have the capacity. I mean, they are so exhausted due to that work and all completely drenched. So I guess this is a very good invention and it was really thoughtful of that 19-year-old student to come up with this. Next, we move on to Spandan ventilator. Now, this Spandan ventilator had been developed when the nation was actually looking forward to getting ventilators. We know that during the second pandemic, during the second wave, we were running short of ventilators, right? So this ventilator is prepared just at about 250 rupees, and it is a portable handy ventilator which can be used for 4 people at a time. Now, this invention was developed by Trilok Sawant in his last year as a part of his engineering college project. And you know what? I've read it in the news that Trilok Sawant has about 40 patents to his credit, and that too until his final year only. I mean, I think that suppose if this person becomes scientist and or something going ahead, he'll have so many patents in his name. So now we'll come to the main topic, career in IP. So, sir, I've changed my slide. Is it visible? Career in IP.
Yeah.
Okay, just let me know if my pace is too fast or slow. So,
Your pace is okay. Your pace is okay. Go
oh,
ahead.
okay, thank you, sir. So, as I had a talk with Sanjay sir in the morning, what Sanjay sir pointed out is that Albert Einstein, a famous physicist of all time, worked in Swiss Patent Office as an assistant examiner. So, what his task was, he evaluated patents applications of various devices, including a typewriter. So, it made me think that look, even Albert Einstein, the great scientist of all time, who created many inventions, started his career from IPR. So even you can consider this as a good career opportunity, and this lies in the field of engineering itself. There's no need of changing streams, right? So your IPR includes many fields. So I've just noted down some of them over here. These are major fields. So IPR as a career can have many domains, and I mean what I mean is that it has many profiles as shown below. I've pointed out say 5 over here. So first one, let's take them step by step. So patent searching is the first one. patent search, or you could say even prior art search, or it could lead even to infringement analysis. So before starting here, I would first like to draw a light on what an invention is and what can be patented, so that we you could understand that what I mean by this all terms like patent searching, what you would actually do in this job. So for an invention to be eligible for a patent, it must be patentable subject matter. That is, it should be useful, novel, non-obvious subject matter. So by this, what I mean is that it should include some novel aspect, and it shouldn't even go against the morality of our human society, and even it shouldn't go against our environment. So Indian patent law does consider this aspect as well. It shouldn't harm the society also and the environment. So here, the novelty is like an invention must meet the novelty requirement, that it should be novel, right? And what is patentable is like not anything can be patented. So you could say machine, which consists of various certain devices or combination of devices. Then something manufacturing process. Then composition of matter. So composition of matter, I mean that it could be some two or more subjects ka mixture. Okay, I mean a composite article, or you could say chemical union of some substance. Okay, and then let's move forward to what is not patentable, because I feel that is more easy to grasp. Okay, like for example, what does is not patentable is law of nature, then natural phenomena, abstract ideas, inventions that lack utility. I mean, which are not useful at all. Then devices used for illegal purposes. Now, law of nature, what I meant is Newton's law of gravity. Then Einstein's E is equal to mc square. The natural phenomena like earthquake, volcanoes, then soil erosion. I mean, I can think of even floods and all also. Then compositions of matter. I mean the naturally occurring ones. That is the herbs from the forest. But composition matter can be patented, the one which includes combination of, which is a resultant of two or more substances. Now, this combination matter, which I'm telling now, talking about is the ones which naturally occur. An abstract idea, what I mean is, uh, say something or a process which can be resultant from a mental steps. I mean, just any human could do it. Just mental steps is nothing like something you could just memorize. Even the time machine also, it's not feasible, right? You cannot jump back to say 50 years ago and live that era now. So when we file for a patent engineer, so I'm explaining now what patent search actually, what an engineer do in this. When we file for a patent engineer will check if this criteria for patentability is satisfied or not. I mean, what are is it in does it fall under patentable invention, or it does not come under this criteria? So if we check if there is a prior art, then what the next step which we follow is that we check if there's a prior art present before the date of filing of the invention. For example, if I'm filing it on September 1, then I'll check if there is a prior art. I mean, same similar invention serving the same purpose, if there is present before September 1 or no. Now, for doing this, you could even use some synonyms. I'll explain it with an example. We have a smartphone. If we get a message, a phone vibrates. So vibration is some sort of a mechanism, right? Feedback and mechanism, because we've received a message. So you could now vibration is also termed as haptic feedback and even tactile feedback. So in this prior art patent search, you should even know the synonyms which could be used for that particular concept. Okay, so you need to develop even this, and a patent engineer can also conduct searches to identify a possible infringement by a competitor. Now we have a famous lawsuit of Samsung infringing on Apple patents. I don't know how many of you must have read this. So it was somewhere infringing on a photo gallery app, and which resulted in the import ban of Samsung phones. I guess those were the Samsung Galaxy models back then, which were newly launched. We move ahead with the patent drafting profile. So, what a patent engineer in this field would do is, first of all, a patent engineer needs to clearly define a boundary or a fence around what you claim as your invention or your intellectual property, where you want to claim your rights as in. I'll relate this with an example of an electronics field. Now, think that you have developed a semiconductor component. I mean, this is a vague example, just a basic one, FET or a BJT. Now, whatever you do for the biasing, then the PN junction barrier, the semiconductor material required, then the doping, you will have to select these all right. Then the modulation applied at the gate terminal for channel conductivity, etc. So, what a this only an engineer would understand these aspects. So, in order to draft that invention, drafting in the sense that you'll write whatever the invention is all about for a public disclosure of the invention. You need definitely need only an engineer and not any other lawyer or something like that. A lawyer or someone doing just BA or something, right? So in this profile, communication skills, especially writing skills, should be developed. And because you're writing the entire invention, maybe you have invented or maybe you have not even invented. It is someone else's invention, which you need to understand and put it in such a way that people come to know what it's actually about without much reference to internet. I mean, it should be that legible enough, not in handwriting. I mean, it should convey the message, whatever that invention is all about. So I feel that documentation techniques, which is a subject learned, will definitely help you improve your technical writing skills. So please learn this. I mean, please pay attention to this subject in your seventh semester. Telling this once again because I found this really useful. Uh, Moving ahead with the patent prosecution stream. A patent prosecution involves a step after filing for a patent. After a patent is filed, it goes to the after patent you file it in an intellectual property office. Here it is the IPO, Indian Patent Office. Okay. So now there, intellectual property office, we have the examiner who examines your patent. Just as I mentioned the case of Albert Einstein, right? That he worked as an examiner in the in the Swiss Patent Office, and he used to analyze all these patents coming his way, and and he used to tell whether these could be patented or not, right? So similarly, here also we have those still now, and examiner come up with prior art or suggestions. Now, as an engineer, if you're working for that aspect, like prosecuting in the sense that you're working for the granting process of that patent. Okay. So as an engineer, will require to argue that a patent is indeed an inventive one. And for this, what we need to do is note down the technical differences. And doing this, and we need to even abide by the suggestions which are provided by the examiner. For example, that we may have missed some semicolon, or we some paragraph might not be clear. The language is not clear. There may be some antecedent basis which is missing, right? Antecedent basis, I mean o and the. You first introduce something with using an o and an, and then subsequently you cite that same name. I mean, an aeroplane. Then skip. So I mean, the next instances would be repeated by the. Okay, so this is antecedent basis. Next, you could move on to licensing. So now licensing is done after your patent is granted. I mean, somewhat aspect of it. Now, after filing for a patent, one can give the right to use and earn fees also from the patent. Now, I'll give you an example of technology. Say, for example, a company A owns patent in the field of rollable displays. That company has rollable display TVs. I mean, the patent is based on consumer electronics, which in which the displays would be in the form of rollable paper roll type TVs and all. So now company B, which is its competitor and its much bigger name in that field, wants to launch its products using those rollable display devices. Now, what this company B would do, it would go to company A, pay for its fees, and come up with rollable display devices. If he wouldn't have done, I mean, without permission, also, if he would have done this, and it would be sim. He would have faced this company B would have faced a lawsuit, and the resulting damages are very huge. So instead of that, and if this company B wants to invest in, I mean, wants to launch these rollable display devices, it would definitely go to company A to avoid that future court cases, you could say. So in licensing, I'm stating that you could the money earned via our patent granting or the patent innovation process is more prominent over here. We move on to analytics, which provides an in-depth assessment of technology area to identify and evaluate the current and future status of relevant technologies, and these are done as and when they are developed in the industries. Like for example, I'll take a case of Li-Fi. This is similar to Wi-Fi, I mean wireless fidelity. This is light fidelity, which involves data transmission using speed of light, and we know that light speed is tremendous, right? So now this Li-Fi, I believe it's not that developed. Communication using Li-Fi can be used only between, say, two computing devices in within line of sight. So this field can be developed maybe in variable devices or in in other consumer devices wherein you take a very high tremendous speed of light, because Li-Fi uses an LED or could say a laser diode to transmit those 0 1 binary I mean those data transmissions basically. Okay, it could even be developed maybe even some routers and your set-top box and TV data transmission should be super fast instead of that delay in our news and all whatever we watch or even our internet. See, here in analytics, what the patent engineer can do is observe the technological trends and locate any loopholes and direct research in that area. So, if a company A is looking forward to develop this Li-Fi technology, it's just an example, hypothetical example, wherein I'm stating that company A wants to develop Li-Fi technology. It will look forward to, no, this is not developed in consumer electronics, only developed in, say, high-end computer machines. There is a scope for me to venture in this field itself. Okay, so Li-Fi is a protocol you could, similar to Wi-Fi technology, you could just search on it. It's similar to Wi-Fi itself, just like data transmission in the speed of light, using light. I'm moving on to the next slide. So this is career in IP, and okay, first I'll bring even your to a notice where IP jobs are all available now in this area. Okay, so career in IP can be started through IP law firms, especially Indian ones. So which deal with Indian Patent Office and patents. Then even in government jobs also this is available, because as I stated, Indian Patent Office, you can work there as a patent examiner or even as a controller. But for control you require much more experience in this field. And even universities also have their own IP cells, which, as I mentioned in that in my last slide, right? That each and every university also come up with their own innovations for the society. So even nowadays, universities also have their own IP cells, and one can even go into this. Now you can even work in an MNC, that is a multinational company, in service line IPs, like as I am doing now. But then these MNCs usually deal with US and EP, I mean United States and European patents, or you could say Chinese or Korean patents, and even Japanese patents, because these are those jurisdictions or the countries which are actually much far ahead in terms of intellectual property and developing technologies in various fields. I mean, the patents granted in these jurisdictions are much more than Indian Patent Office, because here it takes around say 3 to 4 years. There it might be granted within say 1 year or 2 years. Next, we even have in-house IP firms. Now, big companies like LG, Samsung, Apple file for many patents throughout the year. Okay, but to maintain the patent portfolio and check for upcoming technology trends, and patenting trends of the competitors. These companies have their own in-house IP divisions, so you can get a job here. The only thing is, I think that these companies require experience. I mean, prior IP experience would be beneficial to them, I think. And it's always good to get an IP because I feel you're actually stuck to your core job itself. For example, in my degree, I learned 3G. Now I'm working on 5G projects. It's like in the same streamline, right? I'm not diverting to say IT field wherein I'll have to learn once again learn all those programming basics and all. I mean, study a new language as and when it is developed. As a previous one gets obsolete, the previous programming language gets obsolete, I'll have to learn something new. So the same thing is applicable over here, but then at least in the same line. Because the main infrastructure, uh, in telecom, you could say 3G, but the base stations, mobile stations remain the same. Only just what would be developed the underlying infrastructure, but then the basic uplink downlink through is going to remain the same, right? So you could consider jobs in these four fields like IP law firm, then government jobs, in service line MNCs, and even in-house IP firms. Okay, so I'm moving ahead with courses. You could consider these courses if you have joined in as in this field, in this IP field. So now students can take up courses from NPTL. NPTL stands for National Program and Enhanced Learning, and this is a project of MHRD. I mean, Ministry of Human Resource Development. Now it is known as Ministry of Education. And this NPTL was initiated by 7 IITs along with IISc Bangalore. Now, NPTL has created web and video courses in all major branches of engineering at undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Now, there are various. Now, I've enlisted some courses for this field, that is patent search for engineers, patent drafting, patent law for engineers and scientists, and roadmap for patent creation. You could go any one of these. If you are say for that IPR and academics which you just explained, if in your last year you have developed a wonderful project which is an innovative one, you could visit this course. Now there are various other courses too for engineering students like you. See, control systems. We have the subject, right? Then introduction to robotics, design of photovoltaic systems, then wireless and cellular communication, then image processing, etc. I would strongly recommend this website for all of you. Please give this website a visit. And this website offers videos for free. In case you need a certification, you may have to pay a nominal fee. I guess it's 1,000, and all your assignments and tests are evaluated, and then only you get a certification on based on your scores for this NPTEL website. So this is from government. Please do give a visit for this website. Next, we move ahead to Coursera. Now, Coursera is a well-known online course provider which works with different universities and other organizations to offer online courses or certifications in various streams. This Coursera offers courses even in IP law field, and you could consider this also. If you come in this IP field, I would strongly you could consider Coursera, but at your level, currently at least I would recommend NPTEL. Then next, whatever degrees or whatever things you need, certifications you need in this field would be a postgraduate diploma in intellectual property. Now, this is offered by various institutes in Mumbai University also. So you could consider this. This is a 1 year course. Then an IP agent. Now, use by IP agent only would help the client to secure legal protection for his invention because he is the one who is eligible to file. Or basically, you could say he is the legal entity who can file this patent application and work on the prosecution also. And this is a person who can sit in the court and actually go ahead with the proceedings, hearings. Now, in practice, in order to practice as an IP lawyer, you need to be a patent agent, and LLB, and this would be more sync with that patent prosecution profile and which I just mentioned, right? So where the lawyers can go in court. Uh, Next, so LLB is not always necessary because if you are in an MNC like me, where I deal with US and EP jurisdictions, so I mean I don't deal with Indian patents much. So there's would be no need for LLB. I mean, getting an LLB degree from India is good, but then if I'm working on US and AP, LLB degree over here would not be in sync with those US and AP, right? And so here, so these are all the courses which you could consider for in this field. So here I would like to thank our college professors, especially for helping us out in all aspects of our life. And I feel that PV Polytechnic is the best college which offers two internships. Now, people listening to me might think that, I mean, on my session on IP, one might think, what is the use of internship, right? There you perform all practicals, and here it's just this is a theory field. There is no practical involved, right? This is all uh, reading things and understanding and grasping. There's no practical components, all the soldering and all checking, designing and all involved. So you would think that what is the use of internship over here? But then believe me, internships actually help because in all my campus interviews, the recruiters pointed out that it was a plus point in my resume because they had not seen anyone with an internship at such an age. Because now I think it is compulsory for a degree, but way back then in 2015 it wasn't. In fact, what the feedback I got was it gives the industry exposure well beforehand, so you know how to behave in a corporate world well before you actually join your journey. Okay, so thank you everyone for being so kind.